What up though? I'm Bree, and this is Baked After Dark. Tonight, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We are gonna be making brunch for dinner. That's right, it's midnight brunch time. I know it's late, and I know usually we don't eat this late, or most people don't. The thing that I found is, unless you're going straight to sleep, it's perfectly fine to eat this late. And I've got a lot of shit to do tonight, so I'm just gonna make myself a quick meal before I finish out the rest of my night. I'm gonna go to sleep probably around sunrise, so we good. Let's get started. This apron is a one-of-a-kind from my custom self-made collection. She's strapless, she's couture, she's functional. So tonight, not only are we making brunch, but we are making a savory brunch. Tonight, we're gonna make some catfish and grits because that's what I want and that's what we're gonna eat. So we're not just making catfish and grits. I mean, this is Baked After Dark, so we're gonna bake something. We're gonna get started with making biscuits, buttermilk biscuits, and we make them from scratch. None of that shit from the can. Let's get started. As you can see, tonight I don't have any stand mixer on my workbench. They're both seated, cleaned behind me. We're doing everything by hand. And biscuits are super easy. We're gonna just use one bowl. And once I make you these biscuits, you'll think twice about buying canned biscuits again. This is a pastry cutter. If you don't have one of these, you can absolutely use a fork. It does the same thing, but this lets you get a little better leverage. I highly recommend, especially if you're gonna be making pie crust and peach cobbler like in episode 1. Definitely invest in one of these. This one was only about $10. The ingredients are really simple. In this bowl, I have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, to which I'm going to add a tablespoon of baking powder, not baking soda. Don't switch the baking powder with baking soda. If you use baking soda instead, you're gonna get very bitter biscuits. Baking powder. We're also gonna add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And to that, we're gonna add 1 stick of butter. Now, usually when we bake, I tell y'all to either melt the butter or soften the butter. But in this case, we are actually gonna use the butter as is. Hard. So we're gonna just cut this into cubes. Now that we've got our cold butter chopped up, let's go ahead and whisk our dry ingredients together. Then we're gonna put our cold butter in and use our fork or our pastry cutter to cut these into about pea-sized bites of butter. You wanna keep going until you get like a clumpy, almost meal-like texture. All right, now that we got our cold butter into our flour, we're gonna slowly add our buttermilk. This is 1 cup of buttermilk. So at this point, we're gonna move from using a tool to moving our hands. As y'all know, I don't like dough all in my fingers. I mean, I do like dough in my hands, but not this guy. You feel? Now I'm gonna finish mixing this the rest of the way with my hand. Now the thing you gotta know about working this dough with your hand is you kind of want to be quick with it because the heat from your hand is going to melt the butter a little bit, and we don't want that. So at this point, you might think you need to add more milk. I promise you, you don't. Just keep working the flour in until it's well incorporated and you got one cohesive ball. You should be able to clean the bowl, the side of the bowl with your dough ball and get the rest of that flour incorporated into it. And you don't want to overwork your biscuit dough because what do we know? Working dough creates gluten chains, and that's going to make you have tough biscuits. We don't want that. We want them to be soft and tender, much like myself. even though I was once told that I act like DMX. DMX was also soft and tender in his own way, just like me. Now that our biscuit dough is made and chilling in the refrigerator until we're ready for it, let's go ahead and get our grits to cooking. I am the product of a house divided. My mom is a sweet grits person. My dad is a savory grits person. I grew up appreciating both. But tonight, of course, we're gonna have savory grits because who wants sweet grits with fish? First things first, the thing about grits is you don't wanna add cold grits to cold water. We wanna get our water to boil first. So I'm gonna add 1 cup of water to a pot. This is quite a large pot. That's not the right eye. And I'm gonna start that on medium. I'm gonna add a little bit of sea salt to get the water to boiling. And I'm actually gonna cover it so it boils faster. Once it starts boiling, then I'll go ahead and I'll add my grits to the water. While we're waiting on our grit water to boil, let's go ahead and get started on our catfish. I got fresh catfish fillets from my local grocery store, Kroger, shout out to y'all. And I'm going to cut the fillets down because I don't want big pieces. And we're gonna dredge them in fish fry that we're gonna make now. Some of y'all like to buy fish fry like Zatarain's or whatever, but as a ingredient household, I always have the raw ingredients for just about everything. I make a lot of cornbread. As I revealed on Baked After Dark, the podcast, I am a cornbread connoisseur. So one thing that I always have in my kitchen is yellow cornmeal. And that is the same kind of cornmeal that we're gonna use in our fish fry today. It is not white cornmeal, it is not self-rising. If you choose to use those, that's on you, but I'm just gonna show you how I make my fish fry and you could do the same. So we're gonna start off with equal parts cornmeal and flour. So this is a 1/2 cup of cornmeal. To that, I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of flour. And this is my personal spice blend. So it is sea salt, cayenne pepper, paprika, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and ground mustard. I'm just gonna whisk until everything is well incorporated. It needs to be mixed in there equally and make sure that we get the spices all over. Now, before we start coating our fish, I'm gonna go ahead and get my oil started. Tonight, I'm frying in my heirloom cast iron skillet that I inherited from my grandmother. If you don't have a piece of cast iron, you can fry in anything, but I prefer to fry in cast iron because it keeps a steady temperature. And I don't know, it just tastes better. Like, shout out to my auntie for giving me my grandma's skillet. If you don't have a piece of cast iron, go ahead and invest in some. This is my favorite cast iron skillet, but it is not my only one. I swear by it. If you want the crispiest fried chicken and the most even fry temperatures, you definitely want to use cast iron. I'm gonna go ahead and add my oil to my skillet so that it can start warming up. So that by the time I'm done dredging all of my fish, it's all set. Ooh, I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. So a lot of times when I see people on the internet making catfish, they like to soak it in buttermilk like they would chicken. And I don't really think y'all know what that does. So buttermilk acts like a brine, and that is to tenderize the meat. Generally, a brine is to make meat more moist and tender, and catfish just does not need that. Sometimes I will coat my catfish in mustard to kind of act as a binding agent for the breading, but if you leave your catfish a little bit wet, you really don't need that, especially if you're doing a half flour, half cornmeal mixture like me. And because I already put ground mustard in the fish fry, I really don't need more mustard taste on this. So here I'm just gonna take my catfish fillets and dredge them in our fish fry. Make sure that it's well coated on both sides, that we get all the nooks and crannies. And I'm gonna do that with every piece. I'm having catfish and grits tonight, Maybe I'll make a pot of spaghetti tomorrow. Shout out to Paige, because I know that's going to irritate you. Fish and spaghetti do go together. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And our oil is starting to sing, meaning that shit almost ready. I can't wait. You know, I ain't had a fish fry, a grilled nothing all summer. I feel ain't nobody loved on me all summer. I got the love on my damn self. This is like an A1 comfort meal. So we have our surface lightly dusted with flour. I'm gonna lightly dust the top of our biscuit dough with more flour because we don't want it sticky. And so the key to flaky fat biscuits is the roll and fold method. So as you can see, I'm rolling them out to about a 1/2 inch thick, and then I'm going to fold like I'm folding an envelope and roll again. This is how we create our biscuits layers. For the way I like my biscuits, I'm only gonna do this like 3 times. So now I'm gonna take the opposite ends and fold them the same way. That's 2. And our last fold of 3. You want to roll it to about a 1/2 inch thick before you start cutting. Now, I'm using quite a large biscuit cutter, but you could definitely use something much smaller. I like big biscuits. I like big biscuits in a can, not that. We're gonna cut these close as possible without overlapping. I should be able to get about a 1/2 dozen out of here at this size. A little butter. And the sides, so we don't want these to stick. I'm gonna put these in our cast iron, and they can touch each other, that's fine. Touching each other actually helps them rise higher. Giggity. Oh, did I smash it? I did. I smashed the biscuit. These are our biscuits. We're gonna go ahead and pop these into our preheated oven. It's preheated at 425 degrees. And we're just gonna bake these until they're golden brown. We're gonna bake those for about 15 minutes. They're gonna be the last thing done, but that's okay. We need time for our fish to cool and everything. In the meantime, let's go ahead and clean up our space. While we're waiting on our fish to finish cooking and our biscuits to finish baking, let's make us a little drink. Real simple. I'm just making myself a little tequila sunrise, because why not? A little bit of orange juice. A little bit of Casamigos. A little bit of grenadine. Cheers. Fish fried hard. Yes, the fuck it is. Of course it is. Look at that. Nothing extra. Like, come on now. I'm gonna top my grits with a little bit more cheese, because why not? This is cheddar Gruyere, it's what's in there. we can't just fill up on fish and grits, so let's go ahead and put some strawberries on our plate. A little pop of color, star of our show. Our lovely catfish. And our biscuits finished just in the nick of time. I'm just gonna brush them with a little unsalted butter to finish. Grains, who? Pillsbury, who? And I always like the biscuit in the middle. Look at that. Look at this pretty ass biscuit. Look, she's pretty on the bottom too. She's just pretty all over, just like me. And I do mean all over. Hot sauce. Cheers. Damn, this fish good. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. I'm saying, like, get into it. Like, y'all see the steam coming off of it? Oh, this fish perfect though. Y'all be eating brunch at night? What y'all be eating? I like pancakes at night too. They just taste better. This is perfect. Thank y'all so much for kicking it with me tonight. I hope you had a good time. This was our first midnight brunch, but I promise it will not be the last. I hope you learned something tonight. Share this with your mama now. I'm sure they like fish and grits. If you like fish and grits and all that good shit. Oh shit. You can submit your questions, confessions, or whatever else you feel like putting in the inbox at bakedwithbree.com/askbree. I'm your host, Bree, and I'll see y'all next week with a cool new recipe and maybe even a new apron. Y'all stay sweet. Bye, y'all.